Hey, what's happening, all you miraculous people out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with another episode review of Miraculous Ladybug. This time it's Season three's episode Silencer. And what an interesting episode it is. It's actually very involved, very deep, and it actually gets into people who are just nasty by nature. We pick up with Bob Roth meeting with Mayor Bourgeois, and Bob Roth is Jagged Stone's producer, his music producer. We've seen him, this is his third appearance now. We saw him in season one trying to get Jagged Stone to be by the person he's flanked with, XY, the the international hip hop artist, DJ, something along those lines. And then we saw him once in season two when Jagged Stone had come to the Dupang Chang bakery in order to have that one production. And so he's meeting with Andre Bourgeois, and we come to find out that XY is in fact Bob Roth's son. So it goes to show that that's why Bob Roth was trying to push him so much in the first episode, because it's his own brat of a son. We also come to find out that XY actually steals a lot of his music, and Bob Roth is looking to see if XY has any other music to steal, but all XY basically did is steal from his own music. But Bob Roth says, "Hey, don't worry about it. All you need is a new look, and people will fall in line." Just the sleaze just oozes off of this dude as things go forward. So Bob Ross sets up a talent show in order to bring in new talent, and kind of puts them up to the feeling that, oh, they'll actually be able to be produced on television and all that stuff. And we actually see that Marinette, as well as Julika, Rose, uh, Ivan, Luca, they're all seeing this, and apparently they're all in this group, this band group called Kitty Selection. And I don't actually remember if this was an actual band that was a thing beforehand. I feel like I don't know. I think it was featured once a while back, but I can't remember what episode it was, and it was like never mentioned again, and that was the end of it. But it's just so weird to see that bit of continuity still stick around, because it was never brought up again. Like, every once in a while you get these plot points that just disappear out of nowhere and then get brought back again. And there it is. I found it. It was featured in the episode Captain Hard Rock. So a lot of stuff from that episode just coming back. We were introduced to Luca and Julika's grandmother and all that good stuff. So a very interesting situation, but they are all excited to put together a music video for their band, with them all just allying together to make Kitty's Selection a great band, which still kind of takes me off guard because it's all just screamo music. It's yelling, screaming, hard rock kind of stuff. And so we got Rose on vocals, just screaming out, "Oh, I love unicorns," and it's just an interesting production. But Marinette does her own thing, where she's putting together the mask, the iconography, the costumes, and she does all of it by hand, paints it, all that good stuff. And you can see Luca looking out the side of his eye. He's totally digging on her, and I love the sketches that Marinette comes up with it for as well. Very cool, very nice, very cats mixed with kiss, something pretty interesting like that. And I love the design. It almost kind of makes me wish that Miraculous Ladybug was 2D, but they put together all the costumes and all that good stuff. And once it finally gets going and they have everything set up, honestly, the costumes are lame, but I love how much they really just own the look, because Marinette even does the filming of their music video, and they're having fun, they're having a good time, they're really enjoying themselves. And honestly, that's the thing that really shines through the most. You can have the most silly, stupid band out there, but if you really own it and show that you got actual talent and you love what you're doing, people will flock to it, at least given time. But they send in the video, and they're all too happy to have this go through because they really feel like they have a shot, and at the very least they had fun doing it together. These characters who honestly don't really hang out that often. I mean, yeah, Marinette hangs out with Juleka and Rose from time to time, but Ivan and Luca, not so much, not too often. So it's a very interesting situation, and they continue to try to practice in anticipation for hopefully getting in. But Luca at first is just happy to have them all together and having a good time, actually having legit fun for the most part. But that seems to be their general thing at first. But when Marinette notices that after all this time, it doesn't seem like they've chosen a winner, at first Lucas just like, it's no big deal. They'll probably still have a lot of videos to choose from and all that good stuff. So they'll get back to us when they can. But then they notice a broadcast on the big jumbotron, and when Marinette tunes into her phone, she notices that XY, his new look that he's come up with, and the new song that he's gotten is "I Love Unicorns" by Kitty, whatever, which is just like Kitty selection. It's just like, why, what? They're immediately brought off guard by this, and after the performance, XY tells to Alec, the TV show host, that he came up with everything. Everything was his own inspired idea, down to the costume, which is incredibly shitty looking. But none of them are going to take this line down. They head over to the music station, but they're not able to get in because of the guards outside the studio. So Ivan puts on this little make-believe production with Juleka and Rose that he's been akumatized, but none of the guards buy into it. But this was all just a distraction so so that Marinette and Luca can sneak in. And then they go and they confront Bob Roth about this whole situation to tell him that, hey, XY stole our stuff. But XY as well as Bob Roth who are in on it together, just kind of brush it aside and even say that even if they did, at most maybe they just saw their production and that was it. So really sleazy situation. And even Luca, who is normally very level-headed, starts to get a little bit just heated about this whole situation. And they really do demand, it's just like, hey, look, this isn't right, you didn't do the right thing here, but you still have time to make this right. But Bob Roth keeps brushing it aside, saying that, well, even if we did, you just start demanding money from all of this. We'd never do anything like that. And even when Marinette threatens to go on live television and just reveal the whole situation, Bob Roth is just like, well, I'll just, I have such a good standing within Paris and amongst the media and at large. I'll just tell them that you're just jealous and you're the ones who copied off of us. You will be ruined. And he threatens Marinette's whole career in terms of, her social standing at large, her whole situation with designing and costume design and all the various poster work she's done. He threatens all of that right there and then. And Luca loses it. Like, before he was a little pissed, but here he goes right off the deep end, leaving him prone to Hawkmom because of that swirl of emotions of, not just being angry that all of his hard work went to nothing and just got stolen like it was nothing, but also because now Marinette, a person that Hawkmoth says that it's very obvious that he loves, now that she's being threatened, he is ready to go in. And so Hawkmoth sends his Akuma into the makeshift mask of XY that Luca is holding, and he dubs Luca the Silencer and declares that with his power, Luca will have the ability to make Bob Roth and XY pay. And while they still continue to just chew out Marinette to try to scare her off, the Silencer comes in and seals away the voice of XY, just shushing him, taking the voice out of him and drawing it into one of the hole speakers, whatever, on the side of his head. And with his hands, he's able to speak with their voice. And as XY no longer talk, and Bob Roth makes a beeline out of the building. Silencer says to Marinette that he won't harm her, and he's doing this all for her in order to get force Bob Roth to tell the truth. But Marinette doesn't want this. That's not justice; it's vengeance. But when she says that he'll end up going up against Ladybug and Cat Noir, Silencer is fine with that because they weren't there to actually help them out when they needed it, so Silencer will be the one to dish out true justice. And in a very interesting moment, Silencer admits that his true feelings for Marinette, that he feels that she's extraordinary, that she brings inspiration to him. He basically confesses his love to her right then and there, which completely takes Marinette off guard. And when she goes to transform, Tiki's just like, hey, that was a love confession, wasn't it? And Marinette's still just kind of taken off guard by it, but she realizes there's no real time to really think about that situation, and she transforms into Ladybug. And when Silencer corners Bob Roth on the building, the roof of the building, Ladybug manages to get there just in time, and she tries her best to dissuade Silencer from doing what he's doing because this isn't the right way. But Bob Roth, being the coward that he is and the literal scum, uses Ladybug as a human shield, causing Ladybug to end up losing her voice as well. And then he just books it. Like, what a slime ball! Like, my god. I've never, literally the most terrible person in all of this series right now. And Silencer's just like, you shouldn't have gotten in my way or anything like that. And when Ladybug tries to bring out her lucky charm, she can't because it's all voice activated. She can't do anything in this situation except escape. And when Hawkmoth contacts her, Silencer not to let her get away, he simply says, look, I've got a plan for both Bob Roth to get my vengeance on him and to get Ladybug's Miraculous. So he runs off, and Ladybug has no choice but to try to text Cat Noir. Cat Noir notices Ladybug jumping across the tops of the rooftops, and he transforms as well in order to catch back up with her, and notices all the missed messages. Ladybug, alludes to where she believes that Silencer is going, but also lets Cat Noir know that without her ability to speak, she can't use her lucky charm or even transform back from Miraculous Ladybug. So they have to be cautious there. Meanwhile, Bob Roth tries to get in contact with Andre Bourgeois to get the police force to protect him, only for it to actually be the Silencer who is going to use the police force in the voice of Andre Bourgeois in order to lure out Bob Roth. Meanwhile, Ladybug and Cat Noir come up with a plan on how to be able to get Silencer to speak the words Lucky Charm, although Cat Noir isn't too down with the idea. So they end up following him on his way to meet up with Bob Roth, as Roger Cobb actually ended up arresting Bob Roth on the mayor's orders, only for it to just be the silencer using Andre Bourgeois's voice. And Silencer even goes as far as to say that he will not steal Bob Roth's voice. He wants Bob Roth to admit to what he did. And he even threatens to use the various voices he stole in order to, just completely ruin Bob Roth's career. He won't hurt him. He won't even touch him. He'll just ruin the entirety of his career because his, son won't be able to sing or make money anymore. He'll be able to tell the police force and anyone he wants, various different things. And, a certain word from certain people can move mountains, honestly. So there's so much of his reputation that Silencer can ruin that Bob Roth gives in. And, Silencer gets ready to just broadcast the admission right there and then. And, Ladybug and Cat Noir arrive just as it starts up. And while Cat Noir kind of notes the fact that ultimately Bob Roth would be getting what he deserves, Ladybug makes the case that still, that's not justice. She's too honorable for something like that. So Cat Noir busts in and starts going toe-to-toe with Silencer. Ladybug makes off with Bob Roth, but Silencer gives chase. Ladybug ends up hiding out with Bob Roth and even tying him up later down the line. And she starts to get to work, with him basically just gloating about the fact that, he's just some punk kid mad about some supposedly stolen idea. Meanwhile, Cat Noir starts calling out for Ladybug and more or less tricks Silencer into believing that he's being tricked and that, Silencer has already been defeated, with Silencer calling out in Ladybug's voice. And meanwhile, Ladybug makes this makeshift Lucky Charm using some everyday items. And as they run off to corner Silencer, she uses the makeshift Lucky Charm lamp to show that, oh, I've still got my powers. Only for Silencer to say, wait, but how did you get it without saying Lucky Charm? And then Ladybug, being clever as all get out, uses that in order to summon the real Lucky Charm, a vacuum cleaner. And she uses Cat Noir's belt in order to hook it up to her back, Ghostbuster style. Cat Noir brings out his Cataclysm and starts going at it with Silencer, only for Silencer to gain the upper hand, taking away Cat Noir's voice. However, Ladybug then uses this moment in order to suck up Cat Noir's voice. And Cat Noir uses that opportunity as well, with Silencer's guard down, to use his Cataclysm on Silencer's helmet, destroying the item, freeing the Akuma and the various voices inside. Ladybug deakumatizes the moth, and everything's back to normal, everything's set right, and Luca is freed from Hawkmoth's control. However, Bob Roth is pissed for being tied up, and is just still really angry and ornery. But then he notices that Luca has now been, freed, and he can no longer enact his vengeance. And Bob Roth just starts going off. It's just like, I managed to get away with it scot-free, all that stupid stuff, saying I stole your Kitty Selection song and your girlfriend's costume. He basically admits to everything right there and then, only for him not to notice that, this whole time Cat Noir has been filming the entire thing, all across the entirety of France, which gets him booed by the mass public. And he has to do damage control by saying that, oh, this was just a way of showing off their song and getting them notoriety, because I'll definitely have them come in and do a live TV show production and all that, which, honestly, anyone who did enough digging would notice, because he put out that entire little talent show thing And it's just like, well, wouldn't people start to kind of wonder about that to some certain degree, why no winner was ever found for that? So he has to backtrack on everything. And even Cat Noir still has kind of a bit of doubt about this whole situation, because it's just like, nah, he's still scum. You sure he's not akumatized or something? But the whole set production is set up. Kitty Selection gets to go out and perform on live television, and Marinette ends up asking Luca about what he said when he was akumatized, but he has no memory of that situation. But almost if on cue, she says, while she does kind of chalk it up to him just being akumatized and not really meaning it, Lucas says damn near the exact same thing from before, that Marinette is extraordinary, that she brings a lot of passion to how he feels and what he thinks, and is basically just the same declaration of love. And it really lets her know that it was a true love confession, and Luca truly does have feelings for Marinette. And Kitty Selection gets to play on stage, having their hard work finally rewarded. But that leaves a lot of questions about some of this stuff. Like, what happens now? Like, does anything truly get to develop between Marinette and Luca? Because he rarely shows up. And what of Marinette's feelings towards Adrian? Are we going to see that keep moving forward, or is that going to reach a end point as well? Honestly, they haven't done enough to really push forward these emotions and these feelings that these characters have. So I really start to wonder, how far is this really going to go? How is Cat Noir going to feel about Ladybug pining over this one dude if that ever happens? It raises a lot of questions in regards to their relationship, and we still have seasons 4 and 5 going forward have been officially announced, and various other Miraculous holders that have been revealed. If you're on freaking Jeremy Zag's Instagram, dude be spoiling stuff left and right. So we already know of quite a few other Miraculous holders. So a lot of interesting things have been set up for the future, and it's just a matter of time until we finally get to see some of this stuff pay off. But I really love this episode just because we had a real villain of a person, and I really started to side with Luca's anger, and his need for vengeance as a silencer very much seemed justified to me. Honestly, if there was anyone who seemed to need the wrath of an Akuma more above anyone else, it was Bob Roth, the piece of scum. Absolute scum. But a good episode. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. How did you feel about this episode? How do you feel about the relationship between Luca and Marinette? Where do you think that is actually going to go? And will that actually end up being a solid plot point between this love quadrangle with Luca, Marinette, Adrian, Chloe, well, sometimes Chloe, and the one Asian girl who seems to be vying for Adrian's affections. That's eventually going to hit a big turning point at some point. But again, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to keep up with more Miraculous Ladybug reviews. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the dislike if you didn't care for it, and let me know how I can improve my videos in the future in the comment section below. If you want to find me on social media, just Google Duuz-Diz-Din. I'm everywhere. And until the next video, just remember that true justice doesn't involve vengeance. But when it's out of love, can you really blame anyone? Until next time, I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm going to bed. Bye-bye.